Firstly, I'd just like to welcome everybody. We're really privileged today to have 5 wonderful students that have been through the experience of QACI. We've got 2 graduates. I'll ask you to put up your hand when I say the 2008 graduates, that are the original QACI students that started up in the very first days up at QUT in a small building when the Queensland Academies first commenced. We've got a 2011 alumni, and we've got a 2012 alumni, and we've got a 2013 alumni. So we're really lucky to have a spread of experiences through that journey for our students to tell their stories. From feedback from our parents and from our students, one of the things that's always that they enjoy the most is actually hearing from the alumni. It's actually the stories that our alumni tell that you gain that insight in what it's like to be a student at QACI, but also the insight on the experience of their families and what they go through. I can see the chuckles of what mums, dads, brothers, sisters, and what they all go through through that QACI journey. So I've asked the alumni, which I'm very thankful that they've all turned up. They all love coming back. It's interesting. This is my first year at QACI, and I thoroughly enjoy every time I walk out and I see an alumni at the counter, and many of them just say, I just want to come back and be part of it for a little while. Can I go for a walk? And I love to hear that, and I'm sure they will express that as well today. I haven't prompted them on anything because, you know, they tell the story the best. And I would like this to start, and I'm going to sit with them. At the end, I'll leave some time, and I think that's really valuable for you to, if you've got any questions, to ask them or myself directly.
Is that working? Hi, I'm Reilly Vanniekerk, and I graduated in 2013. Great to be back and great to see so many new faces. QACI for me was particularly sort of I see as an important experience because it turned what for me was kind of a casual interest in the arts. I was always interested in things like theatre, film, art, and I went on to visual art and film here and turned those into passions that I am pursuing today. And I am currently in my 3rd year of studying film at Griffith University, and it's what I want to do outside of uni and into the rest of my life. And without, you know, the great staff here, I'm talking about Mrs. Osborne and especially John Carrozza, I would not be sort of in the position that I am today.
Hey guys, my name's Milan. I, like Laura, graduated from QACI in 2008. I'm here to, put a few of you at ease if you're concerned parents and wondering if a commercial career is possible after immersion in the arts, because I work a couple of days a week at a commercial law firm on Eagle Street. I was recently a finalist for Australian Law Student of the Year. I'm about to graduate law school. I wear a couple of different hats. I'm pretty passionate about human rights and public international law. And owing to that, I represented Australia as a civil society delegate to the United Nations climate talks in Peru a year or 2 ago. And currently, I'm engaged by an NGO that represents Wall Island developing nations in the climate talks every year. So as you can see, there are lots of potential career paths, and certainly something in commercial law is open to me. Whether I'll go down that path is a different story. But the reason I bring all of this up is basically so that I can make this point, which is in my pursuits through law school, the thing that has set me apart from my peers and sort of given me the biggest leg up is what I would call creative literacy. And I'm not sure if that's a buzzword already in sort of the educational sphere. Certainly is. But I really feel that having a lateral thinking ability and you know, having the creative background has assisted me. And one thing that I've done, which is particularly important to me, is I founded a non-profit called Legal Forecast. And I encourage all of you to go and like on Facebook because that'd be pretty cool. Now, basically what the Legal Forecast does is it tries to empower lawyers who want to be lateral thinkers and who want to be creative and who want to be innovative to think about legal practice in that way. And of course, I don't shy away from the fact that the reason that I started something like that is because of the tenets that you know, I learned from teachers like John Carrozza in four walls. But other than the legal side, now to excite some of you who are pursuing film, I kind of ignored Confucius, who said don't chase two rabbits because you'll catch none. And I've also tried to pursue a film career on the side. So immediately after graduating QACI, I was on a scholarship to Bond Film School, on an art scholarship. Had a great time in film school. I was fairly successful there, and I went on to direct a few music videos. One for an artist called Ash Grunwald, who's a relatively popular blues and roots musician. And that music video was in I think it was number 30 on the Rage 100 or 50 or whatever it is. I also directed I actually directed a music video for Laura when I first came out of school. And I directed a short film that won this competition called the Optus MTV 180 project, which was an incredible experience. So I've managed to sort of straddle both a commercial career and a creative one. And even now, as I talk to you about graduating law school and working potentially in a firm and moving down the human rights space, I'm still doing little tidbits in film. For example, only in the last few weeks, as of the last few weeks, I decided to help Will Barton, who's a legendary didgeridoo player who Laura knows, with a music video where he will be sort of the musical background. And my good friend, who's the president of the Australian Lawyers for Human Rights, will be doing like a street poetry rap about the history of refugees in Australia to sort of a didgeridoo backing. So, a lot of exciting things going on, and I attribute it in great part to the confidence that I was given at this school. And I was just musing to Laura before. I remember on my first day, I sort of came in, sat down, or what would have been maybe fourth or fifth day, and there was a lot of excitement about us because we were the foundation here, and the ministers for education, I think it was Mr Welford, was coming to give a speech. And I remember sitting down, and I didn't really know any of the students at that point because it's a unique situation starting new and everyone is new. It's a very exciting situation. And I remember Sean, who's one of our colleagues who does a lot of music stuff with Laura, or used to do this, he was playing the piano and sort of did this singing, piano playing performance. And I remember, as I was saying before, I immediately triggered my imposter syndrome. I'm like, I'm not good enough to be here. These people are so talented. But that's exactly the challenge that I think prospective students should invite, because by the end of the 2 years, you do feel you're a part of a family. And by the end of 3 years, it was 2 years in my time. And yeah, so I really encourage you to check it out. And obviously, with these guys, I'm milling around, so please come and talk to me. I'd be happy to chat to you. I have all the time in the world. So.
Hi, well, I'm Briana Goodchild. My journey, I suppose, coming to QACI was a little bit like Reilly's in the sense that I went to school and I was quite good at science and quite academic, so they were sort of pushing me towards, the 6 suicide subjects you might hear about and all that. And they're like, you'll get school captain if you stick around. But I did have that passion for creativity, and I was very interested in film, but I hadn't done any film before because my school didn't really offer it. So I thought, oh, this will be my first step, trying to go for QACI and applying to pursue that a bit more seriously and take that as a step towards my career. So I got in here using theatre and film and absolutely loved it. And it's really true what they sell you here is that it is that mix of high, rigorous academic curriculum with the creative passion. So it creates very grounded students, and I found that when you meet a fellow IB student, be it from another country or just, you just sort of immediately have a bit of connection because you get a very good perspective on the world, a very balanced perspective. So you can normally tell, did you do the IB? But yeah, and I ended up getting academic ducks for year 12 here at QACI. I got an academic scholarship to QT where I studied film production. And then from there, in my final year, I managed to get an internship with the local production company, and I worked my little socks off to try and impress them there. And by mid-year, in my final year, I got a job in the industry, working as a staff writer, and that's sort of where I'm at today. I freelance write. I work as a staff writer at this production company, doing things like TVCs, and currently I'm starting to write the scripts for a new IVU series they've got in the pipeline for funding. So it's good that you if you go for it, you've got the skills, and you take on everything that's given to you. Yeah, you like Milan was saying, you can make it work commercially as well. There's hope there. But yeah, yeah, that's a bit about my story.
So, for me, before I came to QACI, I studied dance outside of school a lot, and I said to Mum and Dad, I want to go do full-time dance. And Mum and Dad said to me, you can't put all your eggs in a basket, you're doing too well at high school, you can't just go dance full-time, you're doing too well. And I said, all right, we'll find me a better school. So Mum jumped online, and I think it was within a week, she'd organised a meeting for us to come here, and we came here and walked around, and when we left, I said, yeah. They didn't offer dance when I came through, it was just, I was going to do theatre, because I loved drama and the performing side of everything. So I came here and did theatre and film. It is really tough, it is a lot of work, and my parents lived in north side of Brisbane, and where we lived, there wasn't any buses, so Mum would leave extra hours early and either drop me at Chermside or drop me all the way in here, and I'd get here at about 7 a.m. and then when Mum finished work, she'd come and pick me up, and I'd leave here between 5:30 and 6 p.m. every night and go home. And there were some times when it was really tough. I'd always done really well at school, and I remember getting my first ever D at QACI. I got it for math because there is a big jump. There's a big jump that you have in knowledge, and that's why year 10, you do year 10 here now, because you need those skills. I used to get A's and B's in math at my old high school, and then moving here, it's a lot harder. It is a lot harder, and I remember my math teacher, Miss Ewing, she's Mrs. Alderson now. She had me in the first term of year 11, and I had just been failing math, not from lack of trying. I used to go home and do all the homework, but it'd all be wrong. So, and I got my first A. I went from a D to an A in math in one term, and that's because of Mrs. Alderson. The teachers here, they want you to succeed, and they'll do whatever they can to help you succeed. And the students as well. I used to stay back on a Tuesday afternoon, and two of the girls in my year level would help me do my math homework. It's such a community, it's such a family, and to this day I've still got all the graduates from my year on Facebook, and we chat, and you almost make all these great contacts because essentially everyone from QACI, they're going to succeed at whatever they set their mind to because they're given those skills in high school. And I remember being told that if you can get through QACI, uni will be a lot easier. And it was my first 3 years of uni. Obviously, once you go into postgraduate study, it makes it a bit harder. But I've handed in my last ever university assignment for now. And I'll be a dance and drama high school teacher next year. And I've already been offered a job on the Gold Coast. So that's what I'll be doing. Yeah, and that's all from me.
I'm Laura. I'm a 2008 graduate, so a really long time ago. I actually just want to mention that D in maths, you were not alone. I'm fairly certain that our entire year failed our first term of maths at QACI. So much so that Mr Joyce didn't even give us report cards that term. He took too much pity on us. But I went down a very different path. I went down the music side of things, so I got into QACI for music. It was very fortuitous for me when QACI opened because my dad had been moved to Brisbane, was going to be moved to Brisbane when I was going into grade 11, and I was terrified of going to an old school where I'd be the new kid. So QACI came up, and I'd always been very creative and heavily involved in the arts at my school, so decided, well, why not? May as well go for it, and if I get in, it's a good sign. So I did, and I did get in. The rest is kind of history. I was one of the first student directors here, so that was, I did kind of throw myself into QACI. I really loved this place, and I got so much out of it, so many lifelong friendships, so much respect and admiration for all the teachers and the people who got us through. It was particularly difficult for our year because we're a little bit the guinea pigs. Being the very first ever cohort to go through, we had it a little bit tough. We did the IB in 2 years instead of getting 4th term of grade 10, so first term was a shock and a half. I think Milan would attest to that. But after I finished here, I was fortunate enough to get into a Bachelor of Music at the Conservatorium of Music. I originally studied composition and figured out very quickly that that was not really where my heart lied, and I was actually not entirely sure why I decided to do it in the first place, but I did stick it out for a year, took a year off, did some travel, and then transferred into jazz voice. And I graduated 2013 with a Bachelor of Music in Performance and Pedagogy in jazz voice, and I also did my honours, and thanks to QACI and the extended essay, I think, I managed to get first class honours, so that's opened up a research pathway that I can possibly go straight into a PhD if I'd like to, which right now I don't want to, but that's possibly something for the future. I'm currently working around the place as a singing teacher. I've been taking the choir at SMT this year, so I've been working with the rivals.
Our partners.
No, friendly rivalry, come on.
Only amongst the students.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. I also work part-time in a pharmacy because you have to get something to live by. But I'm very excited. I actually, as of yesterday, can finally officially announce that my band and myself have a 5-month-long contract on a Carnival cruise ship starting in November. So we fly to Miami in less than a month, and please don't talk to me because I'm currently freaking out about having to pack up my house in 2 weeks. But it's very exciting. I'll be able to call myself a full-time musician, full-time professional, paid musician. And yeah, really excited about the future. I think my career's really only started kicking off this year, which is not to say it is really just a long haul thing if you stick with it. And singing is a tough business, and you just have to take what breaks you can get. And I recently got involved with an agency that does a lot of weddings and corporate stuff, and I got it because a friend of mine had laryngitis and couldn't sing properly. So I went and helped him out at a gig for half pay. And from that I've gotten a steady stream of gigs ever since. So it's really take what opportunities you can get, and I don't think I would have been such a go-getter if it weren't for QACI and had the belief that maybe a career in this industry was possible.
Thank you. What wonderful stories and the journeys that you've been through since QACI. A couple of points there that really align to some of the presentation I'll be giving you, and I'll give you a couple of questions so you've got a bit of time to think about that. One is around the international mindedness, and I know it would be really interesting to hear experience through just the IB and the curriculum, and what a key focus is our international understanding and international, knowing what happened globally, and whether that's through that curriculum and through the teaching and learning here at QACI has really enabled you to be able to move into the space that you have. One of the other ones is there we talk about coming and the expectations around the learning rise quite a bit into that year 10 and especially into year 11. One of the really important parts around the IB is it's a 3-year journey, and it's working through that. And I'd love to hear your story through that, around that. I know you just touched on it, but through our Queensland curriculum, if you're doing the OP, it's certainly segregated, but with the IB, it's really working through and getting the skills and the knowledge to be successful at that end point around your external exam and the performance that you put on. And one of the other ones that's really critical to me always in the workforce and what we do is the connections that we make, and how much enjoyment when we should be coming either to school or a workplace, and being able to lift us, raise us up, and be able to reach our full potential. I'm always very passionate about that every young person, every human being has a story, has a gift, has something to give. And through others, by touch points, I call them touch points, when we touch someone else and we learn through that, we gain that greater understanding, knowledge to be able to be successful, or certainly be able to tap on the shoulder and say, I need a bit of help. One of our key terms at QACI is about to achieve, we stand on another person's shoulders to see further. And I heard that through that from you as well, around supporting each other. Through the IB, your result is your result, and it's about working together as a whole team, from staff through to students. So about 4 questions there, and I think I'll start with the international one and give a couple of the others a little bit of a time to think about.
I do have an answer to that. So I think the question was, how does the International Baccalaureate sort of apply, since you become a globally minded person? And I guess that maybe that's a reference to the United Nations stuff. So I think, it's been a while since I did the curriculum, but one thing that stands out in my memory is that it's because it's an international curriculum, because it's standardized not just for an Australian audience, but internationally, I think that you do get a cultural perspective that's broader than you would in sort of the normal Australian schooling system. But actually, potentially more important than that, in my view, and sorry to go on a tangent a little bit.
Oh, no, you go.
But I think what I was thinking about was, well, what did I actually do at the UN, and how did the two match up? And actually, they do match up, and it's just a bit of an epiphany right now. But the one thing that I had to do at the UN, I was going to use a bad word. I was really at the bottom of the pile in terms of the international legal hierarchy. And one thing that they used to get us to do as a little policy, I was going to use another bad word there. What they used to get us to do is they were like, okay, look, come to the NGO conference. We've got 2 weeks with all of the nations in the world, and we're drafting the Paris Agreement. You know what that is? It's the latest climate treaty. And they were like, we need to get certain pieces of text into this written agreement because this is going to help the most vulnerable states. And obviously, a lot of the NGOs there are advocating for the most vulnerable countries. We don't have like a powerful diplomatic service in the way that Australia does in the US. And so what we would do is we have all these great ideas. We love writing about it. We're on the academic side of the law, but we're not countries ourselves. So we can't actually go into negotiations and say we advocate for this or that. So what they'd have us do, the most junior people, is they'd say, go and try and find someone wearing a red badge, because that denotes they're representing the country. Go and tap them on the shoulder, and go and try to convince them to have a coffee meeting with someone more senior than you. And we're like, that is what the hell, what's it hard to get to the UN, and I'm essentially setting up a coffee meeting with you. But I was like, well, how can we actually do this? And we knew that it would make a difference. And the key thing was that we understood how to talk to people from diverse backgrounds. The key thing was, for me personally, I had a lot of success with this. I bump into someone in a cafe line and be like, oh, delegate from Uganda, I know a better coffee place around the corner, let's go have a chat there. And then one thing would lead to another, and I'd say, hey, look, you should meet up with us and talk about the loss and damage mechanism in the treaty. But the reason I can talk to these people from all kinds of walks of life is because I wasn't given a vanilla, single-minded group of people to go to school with. I was given an incredibly diverse range of peers. I talk to people from all walks of life, and this school is open. It's because it's a meritocracy in terms of how you get in. There are people from all kinds of backgrounds, all who share, a common brilliance, dare I say, but none of whom come from a similar place. It only just occurred to me on the stage that, yeah, probably, if I'd gone to the school that I was already at before I came to Mulcahy, and I'd stayed there, I don't think I would have the same confidence in talking to people from all walks of life and from different paths. And that has certainly made me more global-minded. That's certainly contributed to having the right mindset for sort of international law.
The learning, you can see the learning just continued at Mulcahy in the doors, right?
Yeah, I've got something to add to that as well. I think, my sort of motto is the mark of true intelligence is how far you can see beyond yourself. And so I think more than anything at QACI, that QACI has given me through my journey, more than the academic, success and the little certificates you get, more than the films you produce or any of the art things. I think it's the person it makes you, because the curriculum, the way it is based is that you have to do theory of knowledge. So you've got to talk, you've got to do broader thinking, accept ideas that aren't necessarily your own, be able to entertain those, and then from there make your own decisions. It's also things like community action and service, having to do that as part of your thing. It's not just about benefiting you as a person, it's the whole thing about working as a community, but also being a global citizen and understanding that the world doesn't revolve around you, and you need to, work with the world. And so I think more than anything that QACI offers, the thing I'm most thankful for is the person it has made me through having to sort of, at the same time, work hard and work for where I want to get, but understand where I sit in a world perspective and that, you know, we need to be players and support each other, things like that. So that's kind of what I was flagging for as well. When you meet other IB people, you generally have a sense that they sort of see that world from a bit more of a collaborative perspective, I suppose. Yeah.
Just one that I just thought about there was the language, you know, being compulsory. I know a number of students always being around, coming in, many students haven't got a language and the worry about having to do a language.
No, but it's great, and it's that way it forces you to be such a good person. You don't get stuck in your little, you know, I just do this and that's just who I am. You're forced to be a balanced individual, whether you like it or not, and you'll thank yourself later, having gone through the struggles, that you've come out actually a very developed human being. So,
Add something to the language thing.
Yeah, great.
You never know when it's going to come in handy, because my cruise ship mainly sails to Mexico, and I happen to study Spanish. So it happens, yeah. I can only say, you know, where is the bathroom now, but I'm sure maybe in a few months' time I'll be back to that.
We'll just rewind that. Just one of the other ones is just that 3-year journey. I'm always, you'd say it's hard, you hear that, you know, as you're coming in. I know from my first year very much around coming in, it's different. I've achieved an A at my school continually. I come in, I get a D, and what's happening? You know, that fear. And I try to talk to parents and students about it's a 3-year journey. That's just a point of time, and that's the journey through to be successful. And I know all of you have been successful, and all practice students that have been through highly successful as they go through. Has anyone just got a little point there around that?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys might be quaking in your seats a little bit. You hear about, oh, I got a D, I got my first D, it's the IB, it's very scary. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's a challenge. But what you also need to take aware of is that because of the environment that we have and the staff that we have and the students that we have, it is a very supportive environment. And this school will help you through that. I remember, you know, coming in grade 10, and we're all strangers, but by the end, it really is this 3-year journey that pushes everyone together, and especially in that last semester, and even in those last couple of weeks, everyone just forms this kind of bond that, I don't know, it sounds cheesy, but suddenly everyone kind of, you know, we've been through it, so we all kind of get each other. And going back to the A to the D, there's a lot of talk about how difficult the IB is and how the IB is this challenge, but the staff and the opportunities that we have here will ease you into it. So don't worry too much. You have to work hard, but we have this school so that you can achieve it.
I really agree with you, and I think there's no better place to do a difficult thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in addition, I don't think, you know, necessarily shy away from it because it's difficult. I think the fact it's difficult should be one of the main reasons you want to come here. But yeah, I would emphasise, there's a great community here for that.
I might just add, I was going to say, the problem with high achievers is often you can get bored. And I know, if you're sitting in this room and you are a straight A student and you're, you know, are you ever a little bit bored in class? Do you ever think, you know, maybe I'm, you know, getting a little bit wasted here? Because that, like, I can't say I entirely felt like that, given that I was a bit forced into the move, but I really loved coming to QACI for the challenge and the fact that I was no longer bored in class. I wasn't ever writing notes to my friends and flying paper airplanes, you know, in the back of the classroom. I was never a bad student. I really shouldn't say that. I never did that, but you know, I know those people, and I know that the challenge sometimes is the thing that drives you. And if you're anything like me and a little bit competitive, it's a great place to be. Everyone, it's friendly competition, obviously. No one's stabbing each other in the back. And I honestly can say that I'm still friends with everyone in our cohort, and I haven't seen Milan in years, and it felt like I'd seen him yesterday. Today, I was like, oh, Milan. Oh, buddy.
You know, there was one point in my experience where that would have honestly been the biggest mistake I ever made. And Mum said to me, you're almost finished, like you're at the end of grade 10, you can push through it, and those 2 years, yeah, they're hard, but you look back, and I remember watching all my friends in my first year of uni, they'd drop out, or they'd not do well, or they wouldn't show up, and just having that support, and you've been through it already, and what a good time to go through it. When you start uni, most people are moving out of home, and you know, there's so much more to take on when you leave uni, but going through it now, yeah, it's young, but I wouldn't be the person, or the learner that I am today without it. The study skills and the self-awareness, it just, yeah, honestly, I'm so glad I pushed through it. So happy.
Thank you. No time is of the essence. I know we can sit here and talk all day and hear the wonderful stories from our alumni. Is there any just quick questions that anyone may have for alumni or myself around anything that we've discussed today?